had our first side event in October at the previous UPR session, and we had a delegation then speak and share some of the most important issues that we thought must be reviewed. Unfortunately, we can say now on the eve of the second UPR cycle for Laos that not much has changed, definitely in a positive direction. It stayed, unfortunately, the same lack of action by the government of Laos, and we thought we'd use this eve to bring forward once again and encourage Laos to make specific questions, answer specific questions, and more importantly, enact certain recommendations that the panel will present. Today we have a panel of people from the NGO Alliance for Democracy in Laos, ADL, and they come from the United States, Canada, Germany, as well as New Zealand. They'll be able to share and discuss the most important issues facing Laos today, and more importantly, provide specific questions that the government can ask tomorrow, as well as recommendations that will improve the human rights situation inside their homeland. The first speaker that we'll have today is Dr. Buntan Chantalam Visa. She's the president. She was actually just re-elected this morning for a 4-year term over at the Geneva Press Club, where ADL is having their meeting. And what she'll be discussing then is the most important issues, and more importantly, saying some of the actions they hope the government of Laos will take.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Buntan Chantalam Visa. I am the president of Alliance for Democracy in Laos. The Alliance for Democracy in Laos is people's movement connecting Lao citizens and active advocates in the global legal community to peaceful change to democracy and for the respect of human rights in Laos. It's a non-government organization that partner with and for Lao people inside our separate homeland as well as this forum around the world. We coordinated our global efforts being business and registered in Germany. So now it's an honor for me to submit our human rights efforts for Laos to you. Laos is one of pioneering communist countries in the world, and Laos is one of the poorest countries in the world. In 1975, the Lao Communist Party, in violation of ceasefire agreement under the Vientiane Peace Treaty of 1973, to overpower and control of the country and replace the existing legitimate constitution monarchy with a single-party communist regime under the name of Lao People's Democratic Republic. The state symbols have been replaced. So the traditional flag, the three-elephant flag, has to go. The new one is the so-called moon flag. Laos difference, first and foremost, by Vietnam, particularly militarily and politically, and secondary, the influence by China. The influence by Vietnam is countered by the Lao-Vietnam Special Treaty from July 18, 1973 for 25 years and automatically renewed every 10 years. Vietnam's advancement in making Laos to colony has taken new forms other than political and economic control, as can be seen in the culture and language sector. Since 2012, Laos made contact for the construction of Ho Chi Minh statues. A lot of statues are finished across the whole country, including in capital Vientiane, despite protests by the population. More than that, the Lao country and in danger. Vietnam still many Buddha statues on all Lao people we lose their symbol of belief. And last is takes place on January 9, 2050 at the old Chư Temple of Vientiane.
ไปถึงพวกรัฐบาลเชื่อพี่น้องก็คือรัฐบาลบางคนปฏิวัติแล้วพูดกันว่าตอนนี้รัฐบาลลาวเนี่ยมันได้ทำร้ายจิตใจประชาชนอย่างให้ในอีกเดือนหนึ่งแล้วพี่น้องก็คือมันจะยกความจะโหดที่อยู่ในคอมเตอร์ในประเทศลาวพี่น้องแต่ว่าเรื่องนี้มันไม่ถูกโหดพอมันบอกข่าวพี่น้องพอมันปิดข่าวมาตลอดได้ถ่ายคลิปไว้ได้เนาะที่ว่าวัดเวียดนามวัดที่ว่าอาโนที่ว่ามันไม่ยกความจะโหดในวัดคอมเตอร์ไปขนาดพี่น้องมันพี่น้องประชาชนเจ้าไฟจะมีอำนาจมันถึงขีดจำกัดเลยพี่น้องพวกนี้มันตายไปนะแล้วกูยัง
It's not different from many Buddha's churches in Temple of Vientiane. In certain years, schools have opened in Laos in which Lao students are taught entirely in Vietnamese inside our nation of Laos. This is clearly to undermine to the Lao country. In addition, the awarding of scholarship, the preference for students from school with a Vietnamese language and curriculum is discriminate against the students from Lao language school and puts them in a disadvantage. The government of Laos has given long-term land leasing in many provinces in the south Vietnam and in the north to China. 30% of the land is owned by foreign investors. These lands are now populated by hundreds of thousands of Chinese people with their administration. More than 2 million citizens are from Vietnam. This is a new kind of colonialism. On November 2nd, 2013, the Lao Army has made an invasion at several villages in the north of Laos. Villages in this area are minorities, Laotians who scattered in small villages inhabited nearly the jungles, hills, caves, and there are rice fields. The Lao government has suspected that this Laotian will make some riots against the regime. In some suspicious areas like deep forests and caves, the soldiers use chemical weapons too. The chemical bonfire consists of bombs shells shot from mortar B-40. When they exploded, in this yellow fumes stuck on leaves, bushes, and on the ground. The bombers remained for 3 days. Despite the opening up of the economy and the market system and the entry of the regime into the international community, the violation of basic freedom and human rights of the people, the political oppression and brutal repression against dissent continue at evident in contravention of the UN treaties and conventions to which the Lao media is a signatory. The law of the Lao media provided for freedom of speech, the place of assembly and of association. However, in practice, these rights are recently curtailed by government infringements by legislatures in the application of the law by corrupt judges and by abusive police and security forces. Resistance is also under tight state control, particularly on belief of the ethnic minorities who continue to suffer harsh persecution like violence, church conversation, forced retrenchment or reversion to earnings, Paris and incarceration in chains and wooden stools. Resistance persecution continues as we speak. As recently as August 30, 2012, 50 Christians in central Balikhamsai province were ordered to convert to their traditional feminist religion. Early in the same province, the police arrested a Christian for converting 300,000 to Christianity. Alliance for Democracy in Laos and its allied organization appealed to the UN Human Rights Council to urge the government of Laos PDR first urge the United Nations to review the actual performance of the government of Laos PDR against the human rights standards and norms of the United Nations to ensure that the requirements of its human rights agreements and conventions are complied with. Second, appeal to the United Nations to help put pressure on the ruling power of Vietnam to seize control of Laos. Repeal as matter of enter the Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation of July 18, 1973, respected sovereignty, and the plunder and hijack of Laos nation resource towards Vietnam, and let Laos shall go themselves democratically and independently with Laos sovereignty under free and fair election under the control of the UN. Third, Laos should immediately establish two rules, a law, a comprehensive land title reform package. The land title action must recognize the traditional land owners and protect the environment from foreign destruction and protect our future generation of Laos. Land title is a necessary legal action that deserves immediate initiative in every communities and across the country. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Bunton, for an overview of some of the important issues of one, the thefts of different Buddha statues, two, the important issue of land grabbing that's taking place across the country, and of course the action against people who stand up to defend their rights and to hold on to their land as they're then targeted by the government. Our next speaker is Van Lang Kamsuk from the ADL USA, and he'll be speaking on important issues also being faced in Laos today.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Van Lang Kamsuk. I am the ADL Vice President for the USA chapter. Our deep appreciation for opportunity to speak in front of this council. On December 15, 2012, Mr. Sombat Somphorn, respected and popular civil society leader, was abducted at a police outpost on the outskirts of Vientiane, capital of Laos. The incident was captured by the government CCTV, closed circus TV. It is almost 2 years on, and he still has not been seen or heard from. The government third and latest official report on the case do not give any acknowledged or relevant information on this case. The government of Laos has not accepted the help of the European Union and the United States of America on the ground that its international security was in danger as a result. Question: why did the Laos government reject international assistance for the investigation into Sombat's disappearance, including the U.S. offer to provide technical help to enhance the quality of some blurry image of the surveillance video footage? Sombat Somphorn enforced disappearance has sent a chilling message to others in Laos who want to debate and share ideas around human rights and development, and has shocked civil society across Southeast Asia. As a concerned citizen, we have a question to ask Laos government. Is it considered to be a crime or breaking the law for the citizen of the country in working and advocating for life improvement and betterment for the society as a whole in Laos? Recommendation: since the case is not about the security of the country, and if the Laos government has nothing to do with the disappearance of Sombat Somphorn, there is no plausible reason why the Laos government should not allow international investigative assistance to take place. We recommend that the Laos government adopt and implement unnecessary concrete measures to determine verifiably Sombat Somphorn's whereabouts and ensure his safe, speedy return to his family within specific time frame. Immediately ratify the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, to which Laos PDR is a signatory. Adopt and implement unnecessary concrete measures to determine verifiably Sombat Somphorn's whereabouts and to ensure his safe, speedy return back to his family. The Laos government has made, this is the next topic, is land grabbing. The government of Laos, PDR, has made long-term land lease in many provinces, especially in the southern part of Laos to Vietnam and in the northern part of Laos to China. Currently, 30% of the land is owned by the foreign investors. These lands are now populated by 100,000 of Chinese people with their own administration in Laos. More than 2 million settlers are from Vietnam. This is a new kind of colonialism. Or there is no territorial integrity in Laos at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen. The government of Laos, PDR, has made concession of land to China under soft lease with a term up to as long as 99 years in many provinces in the northern of Laos, where, for example, the area of the Golden Triangle, Bokeo province, and Casino, to be populated by 200,000 Chinese without Lao people having any right to object. The new special economic zone of China in central part of Laos is in Vientiane, called Bung That Luang. The plan sees to have 55,000 Chinese to settle at that particular site of the country, Laos Vientiane capital. Protests by other villages forcibly expropriated by Lao officials in the collaboration with Chinese company called the King Roman, or in Laos called Dog New Kham, group size farmland in 6 villages. For example, Sibun Huang, Pian Yam, Mok Kachok, Hon Hom, Don Mun, and Kwan in the special economic zone of Bokeo province in the Golden Triangle for the construction of a casino serving airport. All those, they are already at the airport. In addition, more land have been grabbed for the golf course. When the Lao people have nothing to eat, facing with the daily meager life. Laos soldiers were sent to destroy the house of 16 families. The people raised up to protest the land grabbing.
ขอบทัพเองที่ดินระหว่างกษัตริย์เมืองต้นเพลิงแขวงบ่อแก้วกับบริษัทสมรทานสร้างสนามบินยังคงดำเนินต่อไปกษัตริย์มีเขตเมืองต้นเพลิงแขวงโดยอ้างว่าค่าชดเชยนั้นถือโทษได้เป็นที่วิพากษ์วิจารณ์กันอยู่ในสื่อสังคมออนไลน์หรือ Facebook ตามประพาสแสดงความเห็นอกเห็นใจต่อกษัตริย์ที่ต้องเสียที่ดินและมีการวิพากษ์วิจารณ์เกี่ยวกับโครงการดังกล่าว
The video you just have seen is the actual live tape by the farmer itself. They try to protect and they try to send out the news of this illegal land grabbing out to the international community. In Laos itself, the government does not listen to the people, they listen only to the rich investors. Laos soldiers were sent to destroy the house of 16 families so that the land could be sold to foreign investors. The soldier has destroyed 2 of the houses when they were secretly filmed by Mrs. Ladawan Maniwan. After the video was shown on the Lao TV and on the Facebook circulation, the soldiers stopped the destruction of the remaining house while the authority pursued the woman who took the picture. She has escaped the country. Another video. This is the forced moving the government to give up the land to the investor.
เขาบอกกำลังขนกำลังมากเพื่อประชาชนเบิ่งไหมพ่อแม่พี่น้องประชาชนทุกอย่างแบบผมมีบอลชียูเด็กๆเขาอะไรทีมากมากที่วัด
This is in the poor rural area in Laos. The government want to force the people to move out, open up the land for the investors
อันนี้นี่เป็น
build a new
พฤติกรรม
building
ที่
so
สว
they
ย
can
งาม
benefit.
ที่ปาเถื่อนที่สุด
The investor
เห็น
pay
แบบว่า
authority.
ขาดฝาขาดดินมันจังเนาะบ่มีอย่างพวกอะไรเบิ่งให้เบิ่งเอาประมาณนี้เนาะ
The authority do not care about the livelihood of the people.
มากของประชาชนคนขึ้นรถนี่บ่มีบอลที่อยู่เลยบ่มีบอลเพิ่นiPhone iPad ให้ว่าสมาร์ทโฟนเขาเจ้า
The government of Laos media make land lease a bit softer for Vietnam, irrespective of the many complaints and protests from the people of Laos. This following is only one example in 100. The county local government under Major Liang Kampun has made a soft land lease with LVF, means Lao Vietnamese company, essentially selling the agricultural land of 55 families, village, the whole village. Officially, it was promoted as investment for the development of Laos. In fact, it is investing for a foreign company income and for the profit. As a compensation concern, the affected family were offered a land area of 100 hectares in another location, which completely unsuitable for agricultural use. So 6 representatives of the village went to the capital, Vientiane, make a direct appeal to the central government for help. The central government told the county or the local government that they had to give back the land to the people. But the local government said said that the land has already been sold to the company and it was not possible to get it back. The local government told the people that they had to change the agricultural method from planting the crop to pig breeding. But the people shared with the authority that this alternative was not also possible in this land. On June 30, 2012, following, the people were imprisoned Mr. Buntia, Mr. Bunsu, Khon Savai, Mr. V. Kam, Mr. Sombat, Mr. Kam Sawan. On June 26, the 7 were released. Mr. Somwan, another representative of the village, has signed a confession of guilt and agreed to end the protest. The only condition of the release is to have another person in the village to sign the confession of guilt and agree to end the protest of the land grab. He has been tortured in prison. On July 10, 2012, Mr. Suwat was released after the Laos National Assembly has intervened. Since then, he has been on the run. The other ex-prisoners were harassed by the authorities, same authority that arrested them after their release, so they went out of the country for fear of their own safety. Question: why does the Laos government allow this to happen in the province level? They do deprive the livelihood by confiscation and sale of the people land. Recommendation: the government should immediately put an end to the policy and practice of land grabbing in Laos. Laos authorities should stop pursuing the land protesters immediately and allow them to live openly and freely without harassment. Make justly compensation for all the people in the country who have similar loss of the land. Provide financial, technical, material training and educational assistance for the alternative employment opportunity and livelihood. We call upon the United Nations to pressure the Lao PBR to stop the new form of colonization of Laos through land concession to China and other countries like Vietnam through large-scale immigration and settlement of Chinese people in Laos, and to protect the right of Laotians to be the owner of their own country. So in doing that, we try to help the Lao people not to become the slave within their own country. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. I think you can see the pattern of persecution that people are facing. Bunton was able to share in the first presentation that was also even better improved with the videos to show you real-life situation of what people are bringing. These videos, of course, were able to be brought out with the people in the country, working in collaboration with our international team to be able to share the true story. The story that even in Laos, the people will not be able to be learning in their own indigenous language, and unfortunately school being in Vietnamese language. And then really our second speaker talking to you about the status of human rights defenders. It's very important to see how people stand up and don't just accept these human rights violations, but when they do take action, the persecution is swift. Even Human Rights Watch today just issued a statement. Philip Dam, as many of us know in this room, is the acting Geneva Advocacy Director at Human Rights Watch, and he said, quote, "The lack of progress in the disappearance of a leading activist is sadly emblematic of the Lao government's failure to take action on a wide range of serious human rights problems. The UN member countries should make clear their dissatisfaction with Laos in action and insist upon genuine reform." That's what Philip Dam just released today. And the situation of Sombat Sompong since December 15th is really the issue that has to be at the forefront of the minds of all people during the review when it takes place tomorrow. We'll next have our speaker, Peter Sombat. He's with the Foreign Relations Committee of Alliance for Democracy in Laos, and he lives in Alabama, so he's from the United States. He'll be able to share his story and discuss with you now.
Hello, can you hear me? Thank you. Well, lady and gentlemen, since I'm with you here, I really appreciate that you are being here and listen to rights should and must be prioritized to the highest standards in our modern time. My name is Peter Kosumat. I am naturalized citizen of the United States of America. I am a survivor of the Laos PDR's re-education camp. I tell you a little of my personal story. I was 8 years old when my family was sent to re-education camp. I have a younger brother who was 5 years old at that time, and an uncle. Both passed away while we were at the camp. My brother died from malaria. After that, my family was able to escape the camp and found refuge in the United States. Sadly, my uncle did not survive the escape attempt. We were one of the lucky ones. Until today, I always believed that my little brother would have still be alive if he were not stuck in the re-education camp. It is a place where, excuse me, it is a place of extreme hardship, a place where you have no access to medicine, food, or any modern necessities needed for daily survival. I'd like to share my story about being hungry and being deprived of basic necessities that I had experienced as an 8-year-old child. As a young child, I remember countless days and nights going to bed hungry. I would often get up in the middle of the night to drink water in order to ease my hunger pain. My family and I worked very hard to survive. There was no food or shelter provided. If you want shelter, you have to build it yourself. If you need food, you have to learn to farm and grow your own. But compared to some, my ordeal was short-lived. We were stuck in the re-education camp only from 1975 to 1979 before my family escaped the encampment. However, the same horrific ordeals that I have experienced are still being lived by millions of ordinary Lao citizens today. For them, there is no end to the suffering unless there are other civilized countries civilized countries willing to step in and help. Until then, many are willing to gamble their life in order to escape the vicious cycle of poverty. Since 1975, Laos has been subjugated by a rigid single-party regime under Lao Communist Party. For 4 decades, Lao PDR's human rights record has not been improved, but got worse. In response to the world community's calls for a peaceful change in Laos, Lao PDR shamelessly implements what I call the 3 Ds tactics: deny, delay, discredit, and disregard. During this stressful time and extreme circumstances, Laotian people have no choice but to endure and try to survive another day. The situation is at such extreme that Lao people are being conditioned to expect nothing and to be content to live a lesser life than what any normal human being deserves. Regard to corruption issue, Transparency International and other NGOs report all over the years that Laos is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. The ranges from rank 140 to 168 and up and down. The school system in Laos is completely damaged by corruption. In the universities, diplomas can be bought. Students from poor families have to pay exorbitant fees for their children to have adequate education. Salaries for teachers have been late or not paid at all. Corruption is direct link to the single-party leadership structure. This corruption gives rise to mismanagement of public funds, i.e., funds from direct investments and foreign aid. For the Lao PDR, bribery and kickbacks are considered the norm. International development aid does not reach the people. I have a simple question, basically about education. Any nation that does not have a good education, there's no future. So one simple question I have is that why is compulsory education not adequately provided and monitored by the Lao PDR regime? So the recommendation that we have is that compulsory education should be made available to all Lao citizens, and fees of compulsory education schools should immediately be abolished. Enforce transparent education monitoring systems so the people can enjoy the international development aid. Another issue is concerning Laos is about human trafficking. Human trafficking problems in Laos are derived from a problem. That problem is corrupt Lao PDR government officials. For 40 years, Lao PDR economic policy is not about creating jobs and opportunities for the Lao people, but more to the line, the pockets of the small elite corrupt circle. For example, economic policy is driven by powerful interest groups and self-enrichment programs. Lao people have endured for many decades. The regime has deprived Lao people of an education, human dignity, basic health care, and economic opportunities. The Lao Communist regime is directly responsible for creating this deep chronic lack of employment opportunities. This is the main reason why more than 400,000 of young people in Laos, in desperation to escape from this unbearable condition and bleak future, fall victims to black market as slave laborers and forced prostitutes in Thailand and other parts of the world. They left their homeland in an attempt to seek a better economic opportunities elsewhere. Actually, you can see the video. The video is about human trafficking. Some of the young ladies that have been rescued by Thai police from the brothels in Thailand. The Thai police officers pointing, telling them, looking at the camera. And of course, obviously, they're not looking at the camera, which you understand. So, this is a common. There are many thousands of young girls who has been rescued by Thai officers. Those are what you see. These are Lao PDR passport. They are genuine passport. And what's not genuine, what's about this is that the age of those young ladies, as you just seen there, they're underage. They're not at the age where they can work legally in Thailand. He's reading out the name to and sign to different ladies whose name and so on in Thai language. The question that we have is that has the government investigated possibility of official corruption in Laos, PDR, may facilitate and enhance the flow of human trafficking, or especially how underage boys and girls can obtain official passport to go abroad. Why do Lao embassy officials in Thailand not try to provide legal and other assistance to the Lao traffic victims even after the Thai authority rescued them? So these are the main concerns that we have. As you can see, they're not engaging in helping the victim. Instead, they produce these 100,000 of passports so that they can escape Laos and enter into Thailand legally. A recommendation to this is that the problem of world poverty, lack of income opportunities, and poor education and training, the youth unemployment should be incorporated as key priorities in the national development policy. Meanwhile, the Lao government should take measures to clamp down on the official corruption related to human trafficking. Lao and Thai task force should be formed to identify the extent and scope of the problem and identify the elements of comprehensive plan to combat human trafficking. Expertise of ILO and UNICEF should be engaged. Another issue, excuse me, the drug problem in Laos on rise. Excuse me, the drug problem in Laos is on the rise and out of control. Based on General Somgyal Salamon, the Minister of Interior Safety in Laos PDR, reported that 245,000 people, mostly students, were addicted to drugs from 4 drug education camps in the country. Corrupt officials protect this business and allow the production of illegal drugs. For example, reliable sources in Laos reported that one of official's house in Jamshid province is being used Thai police has confiscated and intercepted from the traffickers from Laos. The circumstantial evidence and from the traffickers' own admissions all points toward the corrupt Lao PDR government officials. Many parts of the country, drugs are also being sold openly to tourists. Also, drug menu cards are available in English, as you can see in the video there. Okay. And here we have another example, and the video I made in Laos 2 years ago. What we call,
It's okay. It looks psychedelic enough for drugs, I think.
yeah, just so we call upon the United Nations to investigate the manufacturing of illegal drugs in the Lao PDR and the large-scale trafficking of young Lao people, mostly to Thailand, which is enabled by the corrupt group power in the Lao PDR. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Peter, thank you for illustrating the intersectionality of all the issues. I think it's really important we're looking at trafficking, drugs, but also people, and how it's definitely going to impact the future for the country of Laos. More importantly, I really do want to thank you, though, for putting the human face on all the facts that we're talking about by describing what happened to you and your family. And that's absolutely why we come here today, and we wish more NGOs and countries could hear your testimony. Our fourth speaker, not our final one, but our fourth one, is Tui Manikam, and he will also share his personal story of what he faced in the re-education camps and describe, unfortunately, how this pattern of persecution continues to this day. Tui?
Thank you. Distinguished member of the council. My name is Tui Manikam. As the representative of the Allies for Democracy in Laos for New Zealand, I am honored to be given the opportunity to tell my story and personal experience as a former detainee in the seminar camp of the Lao PDR. After the takeover the power by the Communist Party in 1975, more than 80,000 Laotians, including King, Queen, the Crown Prince, and other members of the Rayan, the minister and other leaders of the government, civil servants, military and police officials, civilian and ordinary citizens were rounded up and sent off to so-called re-education camps, which were in reality concentration camps. There are many thousands perish under brutal prison conditions, disease, starvation, torture, or execution. Most are still missing and unaccounted for. To this day, there is the justice for these people. Do we deserve justice? To deserve. The political upheaval and horror to the concentration camp terrorized hundreds of thousands of Laotians, more than 500,000 people. That's 14% of the population has to escape to safety and freedom in the other country, breaking up family and community on scale that had never been seen in all the century of the Lao history. The rest of the populace who remained in the country was stripped of their basic human rights, including the freedom of speech, assembly, association, freedom, and press, and others. under the iron rule of the Lao Communist Party since 1975, the Lao people remain subjected to abuse of their basic human rights. They are deprived of the freedom of expression, assembly, and association, among other political, civil, and economic rights. Dissent is absolutely forbidden, and dissenters are brutally repressed and punished through arbitrary arrest, trial without due process, incognito incarceration in barbaric conditions, resulting in death from starvation, torture, or execution. Following the Lao Communist Party takeover of power and government, I was sent as a former pilot of the Royal Lao Air Force to the Simina camp at Ponsawan district in Siampong province. It was nothing but a prison for the worst criminal. I sensed how horrible condition. I was only one of 10,000 of Laotians who were made victim of what essentially turned out to be concentration camps, including government official, civil servant, leader, and member of the military and police and ordinary citizens. Other pilots and aircraft technicians from Lopobang, Sawanakhet, and Pakse were placed in the another camp. Members of the neutralist army from Wangbiang and military police cadets were imprisoned in camps scattered throughout the clan of Jars. After 3 days at Ponsawan camp, we were broken up into groups of 12 to 15 to study political theory, that is Marxist-Leninism, and indoctrination about the Lao People Revolutionary Party. Each political session was followed up with physical work like digging ditches, chopping wood, plowing land, and other hard labor. I would like to describe how we were used to work the plow. 4 people would be assigned to work each plow, 2 under the yoke to pull the plow, 1 to hold the plow handle to direct the path, and 1 to make sure that the 2 sides of the yoke were evenly pulled. We pray for the rain. We would be lucky when it rained and the soil softened and the plowing got less exhausting. Since we were pilot and aircraft technician, our plowing labor was not very productive, but we realized that the aim of the party was to humiliate us. We were made to take the place of the buffalo that has been used the work of the plow, which were now reserved for feasting the celebration of the party victory. I also realized afterward that the real purpose of making us to do the farming work was to recover the detonate the unexploded ordnance or bombing. Fortunately, none of us got hurt. In the following year, we were ordered to clear the land at Banbanangkam to plant fruit trees for our own substance. Since we were not farmers, our livelihood and survival was at critical point. Then we heard that the king, queen, and crown prince and other members of the royal family has been taken to Vientiane district. The news sent fear and panic among us. Many made a break to escape, but we were ambushed and recaptured at Wangbiang in order to stem the tide of escape attempt. The party authority decided to allow spouses and children to come stay in the camp. Even so, the 2 helicopter pilots escaped in a helicopter with their family. A friend of mine, Dao Predit, that's his name, former pilot of helicopter 834, had carried out assignment alongside as ordered by the authority on the occasion of bringing an aircraft back to serve for servicing. He took the opportunity to tell us about how different individuals from the old regime were mistreated and intimidated in contradiction of the state party pronouncement. After completion of his assignment, instead of rejoining us, he was accused of not having achieved a complete level of political understanding and put in confinement as the authority tried to prevent him from revealing what he knew about the situation at Vientiane. They want to prevent instability in the camp. He escaped from his confinement and went to hide at the Ponsawan airport, waiting for the chance to take an aircraft to escape to freedom. When he had an opportunity, he got on one aircraft and fired it up. Just as he was about to take off, he was shot down. He was unhurt, but my unfortunate friend ended up in front of a firing squad. His last words were, "Death and renation to communism. Long live freedom." Following this incident, escape attempt intensified as a very similar prisoner realized that there was no future if he stayed. Two of my fellow pilots took an aircraft, but I could not join them as I was being particularly watched. The authority allowed me to fly again for the purpose of attacking and destroying the Hmong Chao Pha at Long Keng, Ca Sĩ, Vang Vieng, Ban Son, Na Su, Muang Mok District, Tha Sĩ, Tha Vien, Tha Thom, Pak San. At that time, Chumali, the current president of Laos PDR, was commander at Vang Vieng. I was closely monitored and followed all the time. The Lao Communist Party was not able to suppress the Hmong Chao Pha. They led the Vietnamese force of 2 battalions to do the job for them. The same thing with the camp. None of the authority could act independently or just waiting to take orders. I always told myself that I was just a small bird that desperately wanted to be free because it was not possible to accept what was going on. At the same time, despite the hardship and my own intolerable conditions in the camp, I thought about the thousands of others Laotians who were much worse off. From 1977 to 1979, I was given back my own job of training pilots. My students were most the son of the general and higher up in the party. At the beginning of 1979, I was posted in Luang Prabang with my student who was the son of the commander of Luang Prabang himself. This allowed me the freedom to move about. One day in Vientiane, I had a very sad and depressing experience. My student and I passed by a former high-ranking military official from the seminar camp. I greeted him with words of respect and asked how he was. He did not reply and marched on. I walked after him and asked him about his well-being again. He continued on without a word. My student explained to me that the man was terrified to talk to anyone and that he was now a certain class citizen. I took the opportunity to ask my student about the king. He answered me that the king has died at a place not far from where we are, along with many others. Issue. Many people had died in the so-called re-education camp during the 1970 and 1980. Nobody knows where their remains are. Many thousands of political prisoners were killed by torture in the prison to this day. No one knows where the bodies are still there. The member were refused permission to bury their relative. We must be avoid to locate all remains, hold basic urgent service to honor the spirit. I have a question. Why the Lao government doesn't permit a funeral service to make a ceremony for the dead? Here is a recommendation. We appeal to the government of the Lao PDR as a humanitarian consideration make available to the remaining members of the Lao royal family the remains of the King Savang Matana, Queen Kampui, and Prince Wong Savang, and all other political prisoners who died into the jail and concentration camp for appropriate funeral service with the bereaved in accordance with the tradition of Laos. Member of the Council, I plead with you to urge the Lao government to return the remains of the King, the Queen, the Prince, and other members of the royal family, as well as all the other parish in the seminar camp for a proper traditional burial in accordance with Lao custom, so that Laotians may finally find spiritual peace. Political opposition and dissenting opinion are strictly forbidden, strictly dealt with, and brutally repressed. Dissidents are subjected to intimidation, abduction, arrest, incognito detention, trial, and imprisonment with no due process, and face death from starvation, sickness, torture, or execution in the prison. We think that there are still some thousand political prisoners in Laos. On 26 October 1999 and in November 2009, more than 300 people, mostly students and teachers, had protested non-violence for democracy and freedom in Vientiane. Several hundred were arrested. Mr. Thong Passet Lukun, Mr. Sang Alun Pang Pan, Mr. Wawan Chan Maniwong, Mr. Kampuviang Si Saat, and Mr. Keo Chai, known as leader of the protests, were jailed and tortured in 1999 until this day. Meanwhile, Mr. Kampuviang Si Saat was killed by torture in the jail, and Mr. Keo Chai disappeared. Source: Lao and overview of human rights violation. Lao government do not allow Amnesty International into the country to take further investigation to this case. I have another question. Why does the Lao government not allow Amnesty International and all other NGO into the country to take further investigation, and why does the government not release or arrest people? Another recommendation: urgently and unconditionally release the prisoner of concise Thong Passet Lukun, Wawan Chan Maniwong, and Sang Alun Pang Pan. and own prisoner of belief, and to make a resolution giving Amnesty International access to Laos to investigate the fact and condition of the political prisoners. We appeal to the Lao PDR urgently and unconditionally release the prisoner of Concise Thong Prasert Lukun, Buawan Chantamani Wong and Sang Alun Kampan, and journalist Guy Thao Mua and Pa Phu Khang, and all prisoners of belief, and to make a resolution giving Amnesty International access into Laos to investigate the fact and condition of the political prisoners. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you so much for sharing the situation of your survival, the personal experience of what you faced in these re-education camps. And I think it's also very important when you look at a couple of main points. One, the faces of the students, which is the situations in many countries. It's always the student movements that stand up first, and we still know that many are missing. This also connects with the issue of the enforced disappearances that was brought up earlier with Sombat Sompong, to show how it's been a practice that's happened now for decades, and that Laos has not changed in this way. This is one thing that must come out as a result of this UPR. The other point that I think is quite crucial that you brought up is it's really the heartfelt question about taking action for the remains of one's loved one and being able to honor their spirit in a cultural and religious way that reflects the values of the Lao people. This is a situation I could also raise for a couple of different groups. One, also for the Hmong people. There's a National Hmong Grave Desecration Committee, and they've been organizing, focusing on this issue. One specific representative of the Hmong people, Toby Li Fong, was the only Hmong person to be in the Council of Kings, and his family is very interested in working diligently through the Southeast Asia Monitor for Human Rights and Justice to raise issues about the situation of the bones and to know the whereabouts of their loved ones. We think this should be addressed extremely soon and must be part of this second UPR cycle if the UPR is to be a mechanism that actually works for people and impacted individuals. And the final point that we'll talk about more is the issue of indigenous peoples as well as disappearances and how people who stand up to human rights offenders are impacted. But we have one more speaker. We have Komse Munapa from the Secretary of ADL in Canada. He'll share his intervention and then we'll provide a short summary. And we want to thank you again for coming today and to definitely participate tomorrow as you see the 3.5-hour review of Laos in the afternoon. There'll also be a rally for rights and a democracy demonstration outside tomorrow from 10 till 12 at the Place des Nations, where over 100 Alliance for Democracy in Laos and Hmong activists from across Laos will be able to stand up and have their voices heard across the street from where we're meeting today. So, Komse, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh. Honorable member of Human Rights Council, distinguished human rights delegates. My name is Komse Munapa, Canadian citizen. I'm a member of the Legislative of Canada chapter. My family and I have escaped from a beloved country, Laos, in November 28, 1978. After spending 6 months in an Kai Lao refugee camp under the umbrella of UNHCR, Canada, land of generosity, has offered a warm welcome to our family May 4, 1979. It is my honor to have the opportunity to present my opinion before you regarding the impact on the environment that LPDR has created for the past 39 years. The majority of Lao people survival is based on agriculture, fishing, and other nature food supplies. Therefore, the coexistence between the natural resources and the Lao people has been built for over thousands of years. In other words, Lao people in the remote area are very close in contact with the environment. Since 1975, the deforestation sponsored by the Lao government, either under the land concession plan or hydroelectric dam construction and mining projects, has contributed to the destruction of thousands of acres of land and devastated the livelihood of the Laos people. Today, my presentation is focusing on the environment impact caused by deforestation, mining, and hydroelectric dam. The following presentation has been made available by Max. The young professionals for Democratic Lao, or YPDL, core member of ADL, in the title of Laos, Environment Problems, the Consequences of Overexploitation of Natural Resources in conjunction with mega projects. We are going to touch into three areas to brief overview about deforestation, land grabbing, land concessions, and the impact on the life of the Lao people. And thirdly, battle of Southeast Asia. Laos is a landlocked country, but it has its own beauties. The data in 1950, 70% of the land had been covered by forest and mountains. But in 2002, the sources from the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, 2005, have said that 9.8 billion hectares, or 41.5% of total area, has been diminished. And again, another data has shown in 2010, 9.5 billion hectares, or 40.3% of the total area has been disappeared. In fact, there is differentiation in terms of definition of the forest. Plantation, including oil palm, rubber, and other single species tree crops, are often considered to be forest by the LPDR. Lack of completeness and comparability, different variation in measurement and estimation technique regarding survey. So there is no data, no verified data available. The speeding up of deforestation had caused by three points. Plantation of monoculture, which means that this rubber plantation is an industrial plantation. But before doing that, they have to clean up all the trees and replant the rubber trees. The second point is that mining. Mining is the whole destruction of the earth and the chemicals, making the land uncultivated and destroy all the nutrients for the trees and other species of trees, and illegal logging. Another activity in all, they have 9 activities for speeding up deforestation sourced by our EDD class. The first one is natural and human-induced fires, timber extraction, commercial, illegal logging, household consumption. Thirdly, shifting cultivation. fourth one is agricultural expansion, forestry plantation, 6, mining, hydropower, and infrastructure development, and urban expansions. The source, I have a video on the from the EIA. It's called Rubber Baron. I have one question to the PDR government. Is the government of Laos aware that the sale of natural resources of Laos jeopardize not only the livelihood of its own people, but also the livelihood of other people in the region? Has the government conducted a study on the impact of deforestation on overall ecological system? Is the government monitoring the impact on the overall ecological system of the country, like soil erosion, loss of soil nutrients, wildlife, flora and fauna, flooding and other deterioration? Recommendation: the government should declare unauthorized logging as a crime against Lao society, as well as the international crime. It should immediately stop the illegal logging and put the problem under the international control. The main factor of the deforestation, there is a graphic showing that the agriculture is in the north, the mining is in the center, so not very much in the south. Due to the rapid ongoing transition from subsistence farming to the market economy, agro-biodiversity resources in Laos PDR are coming under increasing pressure. Short-term projects, though, not only threaten the country biodiversity resources, but also erode the livelihood base of millions of rural families. Now we are coming to the mining concession. Mining land grab and mining concession. The mining. The mining consists of 3 regions: the northern part of Laos, the center, and the southern part of Laos. The mining projects are primarily located in the north, 51%, and the center, 29%, while a few major projects are found in the southern part of Laos, 10%. Land grab and land concession. Now, the Lao government is talking about mega project on the National Socio-Economic Plan 2010-2011. They have 59 projects. Nearly half of them have commenced. The 3 projects for international airport, the cost in one month, and this is in the north, 80 million from Vietnam. John Praban completed 86 million China, and Article in the south, 45 million by Vietnam. The second item of mega project, the high-speed railway from Luang Prabang to Nam Tra to Vientiane. It cost $7 billion, linking China to Thailand. Thirdly, the construction of the Assembly Conference in Vientiane, $100 billion. Construction of road linking Phu Phan province and Laos Vietnam border, $100 million. So far, we haven't seen only 7 projects. Ongoing mega project under the National Socio-Economic Plan. The railway from Savanakhet to Lao Bao, Vientiane, linking Thailand to Vietnam, $5 billion. The hydropower dam, Sayapuri Dam, Sayapuri cost $3.8 billion. The hydropower dam, Don Saho, at the South Channel in the Sipandon, is in the south, cost $700 billion. But from the 70 to 59 projects, there are no projects, so lack of transparency. These kind of practices encourage the high ranking of the LPDR to corrupt those monies. They take 10%, 5% of commission, and therefore the corruption is speeding up. Lack of transparency of the land lease and concession. Lack of political will and weak rule of law, that's very important. Issue regarding clear responsibility between the level of government administration. Therefore, it will affect all the people, resentment of rural community and ethnic minority. People fear authority for reprisal. Irreversible environment impact. Laos had been to be the body of Southeast Asia. Look at the nine plant dam, of which Sayapuri came first. That dam will produce approximately 3,856 megawatts by 2015. But those energy will not allow people to be exported to Thailand. So in upper of the Mekong River, the Chinese had built several dams already. But presently, Laos will keep going and building the dam. The project started from Pak Bang, Luang Prabang, Sayapuri, Pak Lai, Sanakan in northern part of Laos, Pak Chom and Ban Khut and Thai Lao in Thailand border, La Sua and Don Sahong in the southern part of Laos. Now, the scientific study have warned about the potential of harmful impact of these projects to the regional economy, including Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos, such as fishery, farmers, and local communities. We have seen already the result of the China Dam construction and the upper Mekong River. It has already caused downstream impact, especially along the Thailand border, where community have suffered declining fishery and changing water levels. Are they going to be part of Southeast Asia? Well, it has created a lot of impact on the indigenous people already. Human rights violation on local and indigenous people affect millions of people living across the Mekong or other streams. People have been displaced. Loss of biocultural diversity and traditional knowledge, social problems, generation. Because when they build the dam, all the whole area, the big area has been flooded, so they have the relations to the culture and tradition. All of them will be underneath of the water. So the damage environment, disturbance, natural fluctuation in water flow, water quality can be degraded. The dam block fish migration and also affect the population of soft fishes such as Irrawaddy knowfish, affect the groundwater table along the river. So loss of riverine farmland and habitat. In conclusion, at least I hope, the light of hope is on the horizon. We show a strong signal to the world how much we love our country, the need for change. These pictures represent the student in that British, in the South District. This is the theme, they said, the earth and the sky, the earth of the sky. The editor statement has said, the earth, river, forest, and natural resources that have been coexisted with mankind. If they disappear, the survival of mankind will be at high risk. Without earth, water, and forest, the air that the people breathe in will be polluted and unhealthy. The fact is that the people cannot choose to be born, but certainly can do the right thing for the community. Before writing down, I'd like to show you these pictures. These 4 pictures have 2 questions on top of it. Are we Laotians become indigenous people in the future? Or our land will become other people's land? Honorable member of the Human Rights Council, but just looking at these photos above, we should be able to conclude that LPDR has failed to protect the landscape of the country and its beauty and the Lao people. In fact, the Lao government has destroyed the dream of Lao people, not only within the country, but Lao overseas as well. Your Honor, Laos is a small country, but truly we should have the right to live in peace and coexist with our neighbors, as long as there is respect of Lao identity and Lao sovereignty. Our call for freedom is justified and we will prevail. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. I think you did a phenomenal job focusing on the issues from the dams to the deforestation and bringing up the important issue of the environment, which isn't always raised with human rights, although we see that connection. And it'll be brought up as well with the climate change day of discussion at the March Human Rights Council session. I really think I'd like to thank the entire panel for a comprehensive and really one of the most courageous presentations that's been in one of these side event rooms, either through a UPR or Human Rights Council session. You've presented 90 minutes of personal testimony and powerful videos that really give an update of what the state of the situation is of human rights in Laos. I think it's very important because there's not enough about Laos. It's such a small country. We can see not enough people are here. There's even a brand new book that just came out known as The Secret Fire When the Land of a Million Elephants Turned Red. So it's talking about the Lao death camps, and more times the situation of Laos is raising awareness. We have Transparency International, Amnesty International, and then even Human Rights Watch issued today this quote: the Lao government has a long record of using enforced disappearances, oppressive laws, and long prison terms to silence its critics. Philip Dan said, quote, government should use the opportunity of the UN review of Laos to make clear they stand with ordinary citizens against the abuse by unaccountable Laos officials. So this is really where we're at and why the people have come. We have over 100 people from Laos here this week participating in the UPR. But we also have many people who aren't here, many indigenous people such as the Hmong people, the Southeast Asian Monitor for Human Rights and Justice, focusing on the life of Toby Lifong and other Hmong people, to really protect one, as was pointed out in the last slides about indigenous people's rights to their identity, to be able to live. And this is what we're looking at, especially with the National Hmong Grave Desecration Committee as well. These are people who just want to be able to control their basic lives. One, to honor their ancestors in an appropriate way based on their culture and religion, but two, to protect the land for future generations, which indigenous peoples always focus on, the 7th generation perspective. So we do want to thank everyone for coming. We know there's so much more that could be said. We know the The afternoon session has just begun for the country of Kiribati, which is also facing climate change. They'll be one of the first countries to actually disappear. So we open it for any questions or comments for panels. We thank you so much for sitting here for the entire 90 minutes of the presentation, and hopefully you're able to really get a greater understanding by these personal testimonies and comprehensive testimonies of what is happening today in Laos and what needs to be done. And that's really why the UPR does take place. It's to unite people for rights and for people to be able to share their views, but more importantly, that these recommendations that are issued can really become a roadmap for the future to realize human rights in Laos and many other countries. So once again, I'd like to applaud the entire committee for all the presentations today and open it up if anyone does have any questions, or also just